My sister refused to invite me to her child-free wedding, even though I was a week away from turning 18. Now, I'm planning my own child-free wedding, and she thinks it's unfair that she can't bring her kids. I'm 26, getting married in a year, and sent out invitations last week. Since then, I faced a lot of criticism from my sister and parents. Before I get to the main issue, I need to share some background because it's relevant. My sister, Kayla, 31, and I have a strained relationship. She can be condescending and cruel, which I've struggled to deal with. I always wanted to be close to her, but she never reciprocated. Growing up, she treated me like an unwanted nuisance, avoiding me whenever possible. I was young and naive, thinking I could win her affection. She was my idol, and I desperately wanted a good relationship with her. Kayla always craved attention and thrived on it. I accepted her for who she was, perhaps naively hoping we could be close. That hope shattered when she excluded me from her wedding, citing it was adults only, even though it was just a week before my 18th birthday. I begged her to make an exception, pointing out how absurd it was, but she dismissed me as a child. Her venue wasn't strictly adults only, and there wasn't even alcohol served. She had no solid reason to exclude me. She just didn't want me there. Despite my pleas, she stood firm, and my parents did nothing to mediate. From that day, I began distancing myself from her. Kayla either didn't notice or didn't care, likely the latter. Our relationship is distant. I barely know her husband, only seeing them at family gatherings with no real one-on-one contact. She has 2 kids, whom I love but aren't close to, as Kayla never makes an effort to include me in their lives. I tried reaching out when her kids were born, but she ignored or dismissed my efforts. Eventually, I gave up and focused on family members who valued me. Now, I'm engaged and planning my wedding with my fiancé. We decided early on to have a child-free event and noted this on the invitation sent to family and friends. Kayla received one too. Everything was going well until a few days ago when she called, yelling about the no kids rule. I was confused at first, but she was furious that her children weren't allowed. Ironic, given her own adults-only wedding. I calmly explained it's my wedding, my rules, and I don't want kids there due to the open bar and potential disruptions from young children. Most in our family are under 5. Kids that age can't be expected to behave perfectly, and I'd rather avoid any chaos. Kayla exploded, calling me immature and selfish for excluding her innocent kids. I pointed out that kids under 5 wouldn't even notice missing the event and could accidentally cause issues. She twisted my words, accusing me of calling her kids difficult and unmanageable. I clarified I never said that, but she insisted her kids should be an exception since they wouldn't cause trouble. I refused, explaining that making an exception for her would seem unfair to others with kids, like my cousins and friends, who might feel slighted. She didn't care and kept arguing. Frustrated, I reminded her how she excluded me, her own sister, from her wedding when I was nearly 18, while I'm only excluding actual young children. She didn't take it well, accusing me of being petty, vengeful, and immature for bringing up the past. She claimed I was deliberately excluding her kids to get back at her. Before I could respond, she hung up. Since then, she's bombarded me with insulting texts, and my parents have joined in, saying a child-free wedding is a bad idea and I shouldn't exclude my nephews. These are the same parents who were fine with Kayla excluding me from her wedding. They keep saying I shouldn't ruin my relationship with her over a small request, but I don't see this as small. My fiancé supports me fully and is upset with my family's hypocrisy, especially since they know what Kayla did. He doesn't want kids at the wedding either, and his family agrees with our decision. He's even suggested uninviting Kayla, as her behavior feels like emotional blackmail. I love my nephews, but the rules apply to everyone. I'm now considering eloping, though I don't want to disappoint my fiancé's family, who've done nothing wrong. My family's drama is making me question inviting them at all. Edit: I'm getting too many comments to respond to individually, so I'll address some recurring points. I know some judge me for having a child-free wedding, but I see nothing wrong with it. All the kids in our family are under 5, no teens or older kids I'd consider inviting. Kids can unintentionally disrupt events, and weddings are long and boring for them. Sending them home after the ceremony would feel rude and exclusionary, so I'd rather not include them at all. Kayla's defense for her adults-only wedding was that no one had kids back then, so it made sense. I was likely the only minor at the time, yet she still didn't make an exception for me. It's ironic that my parents supported her choice but now criticize mine, especially since I begged them to convince her to invite me, and they said it was her wedding, her rules. Meanwhile, my cousins and friends with kids are fine with my decision. They live nearby, have a year to arrange childcare, and some seem relieved to have a night off. Update 1. Despite mixed feedback, most negativity comes from those who dislike child-free weddings. I don't understand why some think kids must be included everywhere. Do you take them to adults-only venues too? Kids can cause issues, and it's unfair to get mad at them for being kids, so the solution is to not invite them. I'm not anti-kid. I've explained my reasons. Also, some tried to argue I shouldn't complain about Kayla excluding me since I'm doing the same. But I was nearly 18, well-behaved, and familiar with wedding etiquette, having attended weddings since I was 14 without issue. The kids I'm excluding are under 5, very different. Some comments suggested Kayla thrives on drama and attention, and I think they're right. She's never wanted a sister and hates sharing the spotlight. My parents may have favored her because she resented my existence, which explains their bias. Kayla has a history of stealing my moments, like announcing her pregnancies during my 21st birthday and first full-time job celebration, or holding her wedding near my 18th birthday, a big deal in our family. I missed out on a proper celebration because everyone was focused on her. This pattern suggests she's trying to make my wedding about her too. My fiancé and I are considering uninviting her, though it could cause family drama. My parents want a family meeting to resolve this, but I'm firm on my decision and may use it to uninvite her if they keep pushing. Update 2. The family meeting was a disaster. Kayla wouldn't budge, and neither would I. She kept yelling about excluding her precious kids, but I suspect she's using them as a way to sabotage my wedding and steal attention, as she often neglects them anyway. I reiterated my stance, but she wasn't listening. She even demanded I pay for her babysitter since it's my whim. I refused. Our budget is tight, and she can afford childcare, as she uses it for date nights. When my parents offered to pay, she rejected it, insisting I should cover it to consider her feelings. I laughed and said she has a year to plan, so there's no excuse. My parents suggested her husband stay home with the kids, but she hated that idea. Exhausted, I told them if they couldn't respect my wedding rules, they didn't have to come. Kayla and my parents were shocked, but I stood firm. My fiancé is furious at their entitlement and supports me completely. They're still blowing up my phone, but I'm ignoring them. Update 3. Your kind comments have been a lifeline. I was so drained by this drama that I nearly eloped, feeling my wedding was already ruined. But you were right. Kayla was making it about her, and I was letting her. I decided to confront my parents without her present, with my fiancé for support. It was an emotional conversation. I laid out every time Kayla sabotaged my milestones and how they enabled her, including her excluding me from her wedding. I told them their pressure was making me want to elope. They broke down, realizing they favored Kayla due to her resentment of me. They admitted she's always been jealous and competitive, and they often placated her at my expense. My fiancé's outside perspective helped them see their unfairness. They begged us not to elope, wanting to enjoy my wedding after missing out on my other milestones due to Kayla's antics. They're now committed to being better. As for Kayla, I'm done. I'm drafting a no-contact letter and uninviting her from the wedding. My parents support this, and my fiancé and I are united. Kayla needs to make sacrifices, not me. Update 4. Kayla caused more drama after I sent her a text and email uninviting her and cutting contact indefinitely, citing her toxic behavior. Surprisingly, she was offended, despite never wanting me in her life. She complained to our parents, who backed me, which shocked her. She then told the family I was excluding her for no reason, calling me jealous and cruel. But a cousin dropped a bombshell in our family group chat. Kayla planned to announce a third pregnancy at my wedding to steal the spotlight, as she'd bragged to her about humiliating me. Kayla didn't deny it, instead justifying her actions, which backfired. Her husband was furious, as she'd been pressuring him for another child just to upstage me. Combined with her competitive behavior toward his family, he gave her an ultimatum: get help or face divorce. She blamed me for ruining her marriage, even trying to call me from a different number, but I hung up. They're now in couples therapy, with him sleeping in another room, likely staying for the kids. I'm hopeful for a drama-free wedding. Update 5. My wedding is done. It's been a year since my first post, and I'm now married. Kayla is officially divorced. Her ex-husband told my parents he tried, but she was impossible, even threatening to pursue his friends if he left her, which finalized the split. On my wedding day, Kayla slashed my parents' tires to stop them from attending, but they got a ride from a relative. Neighbors' cameras confirmed it was her. During the ceremony, a bomb threat call forced a 2-hour evacuation, but we resumed, and the wedding was a success. We invited Kayla's ex-husband at my parents' request to stay on good terms for their grandkids. Since it was Kayla's day with the kids, she didn't need a sitter. My ex-brother-in-law seemed cozy with a friend of mine at the wedding, and she later confirmed they're now dating. I'm amused at the thought of attending their wedding someday, considering I missed us with Kayla. Edit. My friend can't fool me. I know what I saw at the wedding. She admitted my ex-brother-in-law asked her out. It'd be hilarious if I end up at their wedding, given I was excluded from his first one.